This is April 26, 2026. Current time is 3:36 p.m. Eastern Standard Time. This is Sunday prior to market open. What I was expecting this past week was for my 1+1 setup to potentially work out. It didn't happen this past week. It just didn't. I mean, that's just the name of the game sometimes. Sometimes stuff just don't go the way you kind of expect it to. On the 5-minute chart, this dip here was perfect on the -3 deviation. That's neither here nor there. What I was expecting S&P 500 to go to was 72.20 and then reject from there. I was hoping to do it earlier in the week. It never did happen. Like, it didn't happen at all this past week. It got 7,200 all-time high on the S&P 500. What I had modeled out for this week now, or at least tomorrow, is 72.27.15, which you won't do that 15 part. But that's what mine is showing up right now. Mine from last week was 72.20. New one is 72.27. Somewhere in here, profit taking will happen, more than likely, unless it's world peace is achieved and whatever, like something great needs to really happen for that to be a thing. I was curious on if I could go over my basic setup and if I could have traded Friday and been fairly decent at it. Yes, at 7:15 in the morning, 7:20. That's the first time it attempted the top of the average daily range. Most of the time, a first attempt is a very good one to take a stab at. Whenever you get confirmation, you got confirmation on the first red candle. You can hold through that. Technically, you'd have to be out of your position at least by here, and then you get choppy. So that was your move. That's the only move that I could have actually gained much from on Friday, and that was I was on the road at that time. I cannot trade at that time, so it's all good and fun. Well, I'll get back about 8 o'clock or so sometimes. Sometime later. Per this chart, though, there's no real bottom basement dollar entry I could have possibly made to get into a long around opening bell. And I didn't take any trades Friday because I glanced at it and I was like, yeah, my move is doesn't happen. That happens to me several times. So I had alert set at 72.20. If it would have went off, then I would have been more apt to take a potential short at that time. Again, never did happen. You had a spike up too. It broke above. Let's see here. You had a RSI bump here at 11.23, and that was a higher RSI. And then you could have shorted there, and then you had to take profit somewhere. It never did break down below the 8 on the stop. 50 moving average kept it up, so that's all potential good things. And then it did have a spike up. It had this other spike up, got into almost +2 deviation, and you didn't really have a spike up on the RSI. You did later on at 3 o'clock here. You did. Then once you get that confirmation there, once you get high RSIs, then your first confirmation, then you can short here. That would have been a little bit more tricky. It definitely went sideways the rest of the day. On a statistical technical basis, the price is above the top of average daily range. That was your initial resistance, as your first attempt rather, for profit taking, and then you've almost used that as support several different times. So that's telling me that you have more potential for upward move than downward move. There's a whole lot of sell action at closing bell. That's totally typical. Right now, which is too early to even see what future would be doing yet. But my alert is still set at 72.20. I think that will make potential for some resistance. And again, like I haven't seen any news of Rican. The only thing I know is somebody got into the correspondence dinner and shots were fired. I don't think, I might be mistaken, but I don't think anyone was hurt. I think Secret Service man was took one in the chest or somewhere like that with a bulletproof vest on, so it was fine. At least that's the reports I heard. The NASDAQ, it's trading above where it's technically supposed to be. Again, like, that same time frame. On my setup, like, you don't have to leave a long position here because it's not much price action to that. Then you get this spike, and then you need to take profit at some point. You had one little blip of red, and it never did sustain, and that's small volume too. You can see where volume equalizes or stays the same as all sell volume here, then you can take short there. And that was your play of the day though, like at 7:30 or so. And again, I couldn't trade then, I was busy. On a basic though, at 9:30 it hit the volume weighted average price. You could have bought into there and then scalped it, I guess. My setup, my rule is that I would have had to, well, I don't know, I could have let it ride there, I guess. Full body never did break down below the 9 moving average. I don't know, that's still iffy. At 9:54 you could have took long though on the RSI. At 11, I'm not even looking up, 11:14 potential for a short there. It never did actually confirm it really well. So it kept easing on up. But if you ever get like a good dump, then usually you'll get like, better potential for reversal in a short period of time. At 4:33 on Friday, you had a higher RSI, and at 4 o'clock you had again a lot of sell pressure, which is really common. The Nikkei is actually doing really good. I've been bullish in Nikkei for a while, just how the chart's been looking. Let me remove, well, crap. Let me remove all these then. But I was really bullish on the Nikkei. It pulled down to a 200 moving average on the 1 year, 1 day chart, which is really typical of getting a bounce run. That may be all this movement was that dump down there, then the algorithms that pick it up at 200 moving average. 200 moving average is really big, that's why I have it on my damn chart. Let's go a little bit closer and see how it actually reacted in that area. If I'll go back there for, well, that one just wouldn't work right. On the regular NKD, it never did show up as hitting a 200 moving average, but I have been extremely bullish on the Nikkei though, the past several days. I was even bullish back here too. I'm still bullish. Now that you've achieved like all-time highs, you also have like a couple of doji candles in here. Thursday you had mostly sell volume. Friday's buy volume didn't even outpace Thursday's sell volume, so that's not necessarily a good look. More profit taking can happen after that. It just depends on which way they decide to move it to. S&P though, like 10 moving average, been holding up very well. Bottom average day range very well. It's just been on a tear. Nothing but buy volume. You're in a high RSI right now. That don't mean this is over with though. Again, like, my level I had mapped off this was 72.20. I still think that can make some resistance. That'll be all-time high. This will be a good gauge of if I'll be correct or not also. If I'm correct, then that's great because this can predict, uncharted territory moves. It's easier to predict in the past when you're basing it off of previous high, previous low, and that will retest again potentially. Then it'll reject or make support again or whatever. It'll do it again and again and again, several times over, at least twice usually. But very bullish in the whole month of April. We'll see what May brings. It's almost here. We'll see. I mean, I've been, when the war started, I was very bearish and I was bullish on crude because I mess up those when I should listen to news. When I listen to news, like it confuses me, I guess, because I heard that the realistic prices paid for crude oil is like $130 to $140 a barrel. And on here, like currently it's trading at $95. So real world, excuse me, and futures has no correlation whatsoever unless it will eventually, tag it up again. For my monthly level on crude, the halfway level, which it did crack down below that, but the body of the candle really never did. And it almost got a perfect doji after that. Usually that's a bullish potential move after that. And markets are still being bullish. And that shouldn't be the case if crude is becoming bullish, and the rest of the market should be more fearful and pull back. I have no idea what I just did. Did I get rid of that? Okay. And the VIX has been just totally sideways. It's getting up to the top of the average daily range, bottom of the average daily range, and then making some support resistance on each of those directions. I do think, though, you can get more spikes or drops there pretty soon. And it's only 4 freaking o'clock. We'll see. We'll see what happens. I think there is complacency, though. I think the fact that the markets can, anytime you're high, it needs some form of a pullback, like this whole month's worth of, or at least where it's been bullish in the month of April. In the month of April where you've been bullish, it'd be logical to expect some pullback at some point in time. You've just not had it yet. That's all there is to it. And then what I have for potentials for tomorrow on the NASDAQ is up here and then down there. And we'll see if any of those make support or resistance. I'll have alerts set on here just because that's level that I would be more willing to consider taking a potential trade at. And I'm going to leave it where I had on the S&P. I still think it can go to there and then up to there. And if it pulls back down here for some reason before it gets up to 72.20, then I think that'll be worth potential taking a stab at it. Alright, goodbye.